it just will take us down that road. And down that road, all I can say is there's going to be a lot of cleanup, major cleanup that needs to occur. I can say this, for example, all the technology that we have at our hands today, understand that our government is 50 to 100 years ahead of us by the things that are going on. These are real hardships. These are real suffering in the world. It's not just in one place. There's so many different things happening in the world that are just profoundly painful. I really thought that I had gotten very far in life. I felt that I worked really hard through school and I progressed. I was making a very decent income. Everything seemed okay until December of 1997. In December of 1997, my family and I were invited to a holiday dinner. On the way to the holiday dinner, I was in the vehicle with my young son, who at the time was 5 years old, and I had two of my nephews in the vehicle with me. Behind me was my husband. He was actually driving his truck because we had to take a big ladder, so he had to put it on his truck to take over to the house where we were going. As we were leaving the house, everything was fine. We got in the vehicle, we started driving. Not even 5 minutes from my house, it was raining, and this was around 6 p.m. in the evening, give or take a couple minutes. As we were driving down a main road, there was a stop sign. Like I said, it was dark. It was in the winter already, so it was dark already at that time. It was also raining. As we're driving, and this is a main road, so the speed limit is about 40 to 45 miles an hour. As I'm driving down this road, there's a vehicle that was supposed to stop at a stop sign that did not stop, and that was the vehicle that struck my vehicle. I want to say this. The way my vehicle was hit, I couldn't be more grateful today and every day after, because the way the vehicle was hit, my two nephews did not get hurt. My son had a little bit of blood under his nose, and all the impact came into me where I was crushed by the steering wheel. My head broke the glass, the rear view mirror. My leg was caught under the dashboard. And during this time, I could not breathe. I looked around my car to look at the kids, all of them, because I knew I could not get any oxygen into my lungs no matter how hard I tried. And I knew I couldn't breathe. And at that point, I knew I was going to die. It's a knowing before you die. I couldn't breathe. My husband witnessed, as I said, he was in the truck behind us because he had the ladder that we were taking. He jumped out of his vehicle really fast. He came around, looked at me, saw that I had no blood, went to our son because he had that little bit of blood here under his nose, and started attending to him. I could not breathe. So as he was walking around to my son, I started beeping the horn rigorously and aggressively just for someone to hear me, to come, because I could not breathe anymore. When that happened, of course, I did die rather instantly. But before I entered heaven, there were a couple things that occurred. One was I completely had a full life review that ran in front of me. It happened very quick, but it was a full life review. Right after that happened, every worry that a mother could ever have literally ran through my mind. In other words, who was going to take care of my son? What was his life going to be like? What is he going to become? What's going to happen in his life? And it didn't end until I died.
When I died and I entered heaven, which I will say, it is absolutely the most beautiful, the most peaceful, the most bliss of a place you could ever be. Right as entering, you feel the love, you feel the protection. I did have a strong male presence, energy around me. However, I could not see that male presence, but it was a knowing that that male presence was there. As I started looking around, and I was looking around at everything, the first thing that, and again, everything there is telepathic. It's not conversational. The first thing that I knew I had to do was look at my physical body and say goodbye to it. When I looked in front of me, my head was to the left and my feet were to the right, and I could see my physical body dead, meaning not breathing, no movement. It was completely dead. As I'm looking at my physical being, of course, my soul, my conscience, and everything was within my soul, my spirit, not the physical body. After I had started to say goodbye to my body, I want to explain that the first thing that I saw were many contrasts of blacks, whites, and grays. Those were the only colors that were present at that time. After I had said goodbye to my physical body, and all the grays, the blacks, and the whites now turned into colors. When I explain the colors that are there, it's nothing like what we have on Earth. We have beautiful colors on Earth. Artists create beautiful artwork with the colors that we have. But in comparison to the colors here on Earth, in comparison to the colors that are in heaven, our colors here look very, very watered down. Where they're extremely vibrant, they're extremely bright. They are the most beautiful colors you could see. Now, as I looked around to observe where I was and what was going on, there was absolutely no temperature. There were no clocks, no time. There were no walls, no windows, but I was very grounded. I wasn't floating. I wasn't floating around my body. I was completely grounded. When I use the word perfection, everything there is perfection at its best. As I'm looking around and I'm observing everything, I was also very fortunate in the sense of two different things that happened. The first one was I was able to see infinity in front of me. There was no ending at all to where I was. And everything that was around was beautiful. The second thing that I feel very privileged that I had that opportunity and that I received the ability from heaven to look down and see every city, every state, every country, every culture, and all the souls on Earth. When I tell you looking down on Earth from heaven, Earth looks this small. Earth looked very, very small in comparison.
And again, I can't emphasize the infinity of what I saw because there was no end in sight anywhere. There were some signs that I saw, and people will ask what kind of signs. I still, until right now, can't make out that whole sign, but it had so many different things on it. Since my near-death experience, even until now, when I dream, it takes me back a lot to this place where I'm shown a lot of things that we don't really get to see. I do want to say that here on Earth, our eyes really only see 1% of what's really going on. The reason I'm mentioning this is because when I was in heaven, the ability to see so much more in so many different realms and different dimensions is a far cry from what we see here. And every single part of it is stunningly beautiful. With that being said, now all the blacks, the grays, and the whites disappeared, and that's where all the beautiful colors came in. Before my near-death experience, I didn't know what to believe or what to really think when we talk about reincarnation. After my near-death experience, I never questioned reincarnation, as I know we do reincarnate. I received so many downloads while I was there. And again, it's all telepathic. It's not like you're sitting down and you're being taught this, that. It's all downloads and it's telepathic. Because I've had so many years since this situation, since this near-death experience, I actually spoke with a pretty well-known author. And I asked him, I said, I really want to ask you a very simple question, knowing that the answer may not be simple, but I really want to get your perspective on this. And I asked him, if you were to read every encyclopedia in the world, this is a reader, an author, a writer, how long do you think it would take you? And he literally said to me, Daniela, if I was to do that, it would probably take my entire lifetime and more. With that being said and explained, I can't even begin to tell you that those are the amounts of downloads I received. When I talk about these downloads, they covered so many different subjects and so many different topics and so many lively things. I mean, there's no end to it. The reason I believe wholeheartedly and know that we reincarnate, not only was that a download, but at the point, and mind you, they're working on me the entire time. When I was looking at my physical body after saying goodbye and all the things that I'm expressing here to you that I experienced, I do remember at some point my body started turning at about 40 to 45 degrees to the left. And I shouldn't say my body, my soul. I knew it was a knowing that this was the beginning of the end and the beginning of a new, meaning a reincarnation. One of the downloads was very clear that some souls reincarnate immediately, but some of them can take up to 2,000 years to reincarnate. When I started turning at that 40 to 45 degree angle, roughly, I mean, there's no measuring there, nothing that I could measure with. So roughly, that's when I got pulled back. It changed my purpose in life drastically. What I ended up realizing is I came back with a lot of gifts. And everything that I was doing before played a part in this purpose, but it wasn't my final destination. Where today, It really is. I'm really living my purpose, and there was a reason why I got sent back. The gifts that I received, and again, I can't express to you how grateful I am. I came back, and all of a sudden, I'm a medium. I never had that before this accident. I always had intuition and premonition. That was a given, known about me. But I never was a medium. I also realized that my hands can scan and feel what's going on in another soul and see different things. I also have extremely healing hands. My realm has changed drastically. I wanted better understanding, and I wanted to better help more souls. That's my goal, to help as many souls as I can, whether it's through mediumship, whether it's through the medical scanning with my hands, whether it's the healing with my hands, the Reiki, teaching it. I decided to get my PhD, my doctorate. So I worked really hard to get that, and it is in holistic life counseling. So I work with a lot of natural ways of healing where so many souls don't even want to go to certain doctors because they fear being labeled and not understood. That stuck out with me for a very, very long time and encouraged me even more to do this. So today, yes, I have my doctorate. I have helped a lot of souls. I am contacted again by so many all over the world for my help, and it's all across the board. It's not limited to, I can only do counseling or I can only do this. I have so many natural ways and modalities to be able to help these souls. That was why I got kicked back here, to be able to do this, and that's what I do. And I love every bit of it. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. We are all connected. Meaning, I'm going to use an analogy because this is the best analogy that I found to help us understand things here on Earth. We don't have enough earthly words to describe many of the things that happen there and that we experience. But I will say this, if you've ever gone to like a park, right? And I'm talking more of like a carnival park where there's rides and things like that. You know, the bumper cars that have the stick that touch the ceiling and there's an electric current that moves the vehicle? I mentioned to you, looking down from heaven to earth, that I could see every soul. I could see every city, state, and country. We are all connected, but we can't visually see it here. But we are all connected as one, and there would be nothing better if everyone realized this and worked together as one and as one conscious together, because that's when the best things will happen. Our Earth has been going through a big shift from 3D reality to 4D to 5D. This is part of so many souls coming together as one conscience that it's actually almost at a split now, because you're going to have the ones that don't join in and you're going to have the ones that do join in. It really depends on what you decide, but I will tell you, regardless, from what I saw, what I understood, the downloads I received were all one. Absolutely. And I've seen it happen, and I'm watching it happen. I usually offer free Zoom meetings, and I'll pick a topic. It's usually about death and dying, energy, biofield, anything that has to do with the metaphysical realm. And I can't even begin to tell you that you literally are watching these shifts in so many souls. And it's really beautiful, because one thing, for example, that I can express, and I've written it even on my Facebook page, the exchange of the energy in these meetings, the exchange of the love is so profound. And the sooner everyone does reach that one conscience, the more love and peace we'll have. The healthier the energy exchange will be all around. And if all of us souls are working together, that's a lot. That's a lot. There are a lot of light workers like myself that work towards this and help. I mentor a lot of souls on so many different levels. And this is a big topic. And I pray that it becomes that one day. I really do. Because as you can see, especially this year, our world is turning upside down. There are so many conflicts. There are so many issues. So many horrible things are going on. This is not good for anyone. So, as you asked, 2024, 2025, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more increase in it. Not just already what I see, because I'm around this every day. I'm lecturing, I'm talking about it, I'm expressing it. So I get to see a lot of that shift, and it's beautiful. It really is. And what comes out of it is even more beautiful. So I do think more will start to realize this and start to really grasp that concept and how important it is. As I do a lot of psychic work as well, I can tell you, yes, we're going to still have catastrophes. We're going to still have things happening. But if I look down that road, for example, and this is using my psychic ability, as I'm reviewing this road, it's going to be harder, darker before we see the bigger light. It just will take us down that road. And down that road, all I can say is there's going to be a lot of cleanup, major cleanup that needs to occur. I can say this. For example, all the technology that we have at our hands today, understand that our government is 50 to 100 years ahead of us, okay? So I will also insert this. If you follow, for example, different reliable resources, and I'm talking about maybe NASA, things like that, different environmental situations, they've already figured out how to manipulate weather. They already know how to create clouds. There's a lot of things going on, like I said, that our 1% is not seeing. So I will say this, there's going to be more darkness, but after the darkness is when the real light will shine through again. And that's what I think we all can't wait for. It has been so profoundly painful to watch what is happening, to be a part of what's happening, to have our own families affected by what's happening. It's going to be harder for a little while, and darker, but we will get there. And it'll be much better. Much better. First and foremost, the first thing I want to say is I'm sorry for everyone that is affected by the things that are going on. These are real hardships. These are real suffering in the world. It's not just in one place. There's so many different things happening in the world that are just profoundly painful. So the first thing, like I said, is I want to say I'm sorry to everyone and that I understand you. I truly understand you. I've had personal impacts from things that are happening where 2 of my family members were murdered. So when I say this, I'm telling you, I do understand. We will get to a much better place. And if there's a time in our world, on our timeline, that we're here because we're strong. We're surviving because we can. I would want everyone to remember their own individual strength and to use that daily and to take care of yourself. And remember, everyone around you is going through difficult times, whether they're impacted directly or indirectly. Please do not judge anyone. It's not our place to do that. They're all on their own journey. They all have their own experiences. Do not judge anyone. Love as much as you can love genuinely. Care as much as you can care genuinely. Be supportive as much as you can support genuinely. Have that good soul. That's what's going to get us all through this. But we're strong because we're still here. We're supposed to be here. We can't control all these things that are happening, but we can control ourselves and how we handle it, how we deal with it, how we survive through it. Keep that strength, keep that love, keep that support, keep that caring. That's what's going to make you through, because at the end of the day, the most profound thing that I can tell you in heaven is everything is about love. Love is survival at its best on earth. There are so many souls on earth that have gone through so much or so many different things, and this has affected them, and it's hard for them to talk about these things to the pain that to the level of pain that it affects them physically, not just on an emotional level. Or they've had experiences that they're scared to talk about. I've worked with people that see aliens, spaceships, things that people don't talk about, and many other things. I mentor other mediums because they want to get better and better at what they do. I mentor so many people that know they have a gift, but they don't know what it is or how to use it. So I would like to say this, and I mean this from my soul, the core of my soul. If there is anyone watching this podcast that feels stuck and feel that they cannot talk to someone, or that someone will judge them and not understand, please know that you can reach out to me and I will help you through that wholeheartedly. And I mean that from my soul, because I've worked with things that are just not out here, that souls will bring out because they're so scared. I don't want you to feel scared. This is a safe place for everyone and anyone. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what country you're from. I don't care what ethnic group you are. There's no judgment. You, to me, are a soul, and your soul's happiness and your soul's understanding and your soul's striving through this earth please know that you always have a safe place here. And you can let out everything. That is the first step of healing, is reaching out to someone that you're comfortable with, even if it's not me. It could be somebody else that you feel comfortable with. Please do that. It's that crucial and that important. But I am here if anyone needs it.